Hey, Pretty Girl Club. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. So, over here in Exotical Land, we were talking in the Discord about finding girlfriends who are a part of the Pretty Girl Club, girls who don't have inferiority complexes. And some of you guys were talking about how sometimes your friends literally get triggered once you start talking about your dating experiences. And I also got an email from one of the pretty girls, and she says, "Hey, EU, you responded to a few of my comments on YouTube. I love the content and I'm obsessed with leveling up. I view your channel anytime I feel like I'm slipping off track. Pre recovery, I went through a tumultuous time with very unhealthy friendships. If you saw any of the story times on my channel, you'd see what I mean. It makes me sad to see none of the people in my story times are interested in leveling up, and if they do, they backslide, and I have to isolate from them to avoid relapsing, even if they have the pretty girl aesthetic. I am 1 year clean and 5 years sober. Where can I meet more pretty girls with our same aesthetic? I love the 90s too, that mesh well with our personalities. I am in college, but everyone I've met so far isn't into clueless or mean girl style, and they are more withdrawn or significantly younger than me. I'm 33. Do you have any suggestions for where to meet friends? So I see that there's a common theme in exotical land where a lot of us, even though we might be friendly or pretty or whatever, sometimes there are certain aspects of us that trigger our friends, or it can prevent us from keeping a lot of friends for a long time. There are certain things where I have to move in silence. So I've noticed that when it comes to topics about men or dating experiences, when it comes to money or career, those are three areas where a lot of women seem to get triggered. Have you ever been friends with somebody and everything's fine, you guys are vibing really well, but then suddenly when you talk about how your boyfriend took you on a date or something, then all of a sudden your friend is like triggered? Because I have had friends that have literally gotten jealous of my dating life, and I'm like, I have decentered men. I don't even care about getting married. You're married. Why would you care and be triggered because I said that some guy took me on a vacation or he bought me a bracelet or something? Like, why would you be triggered by that? So I've noticed that with me personally, a lot of the married women that I know, unfortunately, are on antidepressants. I can't think of, actually, I can only think of one family member that I know of who is married who is not on antidepressants. Literally 9 out of 10 of the women in my vicinity who are married, especially if they have a big house and all that stuff, they're all on antidepressants or they're smoking every single day, smoking marijuana every day to calm themselves down, or they have anxiety. But in my mind, I'm thinking, well, shouldn't you be happy because you got what you wanted? You got the marriage, right? You got the marriage to that white man that you wanted. You got the marriage to that black man that you wanted. So you should be happy. But I've noticed that sometimes women, they have different trigger points. And so that's one thing that you can think of with yourself as well though, because if you have anything that triggers your envy, sometimes jealousy can get in the way of friendships. A lot of you guys are talking about how you've had friends get jealous of you because you've had positive dating experiences, even if you don't become boyfriend, girlfriend. I've noticed that a lot of women, they don't actually care about being with a guy for life. They just care about having positive experiences with men. They just care about being wined and dined or being taken on the vacation. And I'm not mad at you. I mean, I want to be treated well too. But you'd be surprised at how many women are in committed relationships right now and they are staying in the house on Friday nights. They're never being taken on vacations. Or if they are paying for the entire vacation. And then they're just posting on social media, posting themselves with their husband or whatever. I also came across this one girl where she was talking about how she sleeps with guys on the first date because she said that's her way of getting the guy's attention. And I mean, I'm not judging. I mean, if you want to have sex, have sex. We're all adults here. But I just feel like that is not a good strategy to get a guy's attention. That's not a good attention seeking strategy because you could potentially get a disease. I mean, I don't know that man. He could have something wrong with him. I could potentially not be alive anymore because of behaviors like that. So every woman has different levels of desperation. I think that's what it is. As soon as you start talking about the fact that you don't have to try hard in order to be put on a pedestal, it makes other women rethink their decisions. It makes the other women feel stupid because they're like, oh crap, I just busted it wide open and he still ghosted me. Meanwhile, she didn't give him anything and he's texting her, he's calling her, he's buying her stuff. And all of that has to do with dating strategy. This is why, when it comes to friendships, I try my best to choose friends that have the same mindset as me in terms of leveling up or dating. And then if they don't, I know how to kind of compartmentalize my friendships. So I have some friends for going out. I have other friends for working out, going on hikes and stuff like that. Then I have my level up business minded friends, and we talk about business ideas. I have kind of the chill friends where we like to talk about the books that we're reading. So that's another strategy that I use too, because it helps me to not have as many friendship issues with jealousy and stuff like that. So when it comes to things like dating or leveling up or any privilege conversations, I never talk about skin tone in public ever. I have never referred to myself as light skinned in public. And especially not around unambiguous people because they're going to get triggered. I've never really talked about my hair texture in public. Those are things that I allow the other person to bring up because I know that those are areas where a lot of women could potentially have inferiority complexes. And then when it comes to friends who complain about men, I've noticed that some friends, they will come to you to complain about men because they want to see if you will complain. So they will come and share their traumas because they're hoping that you can relate to their traumas. And then when you can't, they get pissed off. So I don't fall for that anymore. Now that I'm older, I know better. So if a girl comes to me, if one of my friends starts complaining, saying how she got ghosted by a guy, I will just be a listening ear. I'm not going to tell her, oh, wow, I've never been ghosted. I've never been dumped in my entire life. I'm not going to tell her that. I'm just going to listen to her and let her vent because sometimes people share their traumas with you because they're actually trying to compare themselves to you. They're hoping that they're not alone in their trauma. And then if they are alone in that particular trauma, it makes them feel worse. So anytime somebody complains to me about anything, money, men, friendships, I just listen. I don't say anything. Another thing I do is when it comes to male attention, I don't even go out with my single friends and stuff. You know how some girls are like, "Oh, let's go out to the bar and we want to be seen by guys." I don't even do stuff like that with friends. I just feel like if you're the type of girl who wants to do decentered dating, be sure to join the Patreon if you don't know what I'm talking about. If you are doing decentered dating, definitely do not do that in front of other women because generally speaking, they're going to be pissed off. Because decentered dating, it really only works if you have kind of a certain level of pretty privilege and, confidence. So, generally speaking, I don't even interact with men in front of my friends because that's another big trigger point. Like, if you're out at brunch or if you're out on a cruise or you're out on a dinner boat or something, and some men are walking up to you and then they see how charming you are. If your friends start to see how charming you are, how feminine you are, how you're able to just draw in attention, sometimes that can trigger their inferiority complexes as well. Because another thing that I've noticed about women is every woman has a different type. Like, have you ever been going out with your friends and then there's a certain guy that walks up to you and that guy's not even your type, but now your friend is all jealous and pissed off? Well, she's pissed off because that guy was her type. That's who she wanted to walk up to her. She wanted to feel special or whatever. So even though you don't feel special with him walking up to you because he's basic in your eyes, in her eyes, that type of guy is a prize. So another strategy that I like to use is I'm not even going to intermix dating and friendships. And another thing I've noticed is that some friends, they will be nice when it's all girls, but then as soon as a man comes around, then suddenly it's like they change. Their personality changes. They want to start embarrassing you and stuff. They want to start like cock blocking you or something. So I don't like to mix my female friendships with interactions with men if I'm even interacting with men. Usually I don't even do stuff like that. But if you are doing decentered dating, then definitely don't intermix the two. Another boundary that I have around friendships is I try not to bring up a bunch of controversial, sensitive topics. So I'm not going to bring up religion or politics or all of these random things where it's like it could be very triggering to people. I don't tend to bring those things up. Like when I'm making friends, the whole purpose of me having a friend is so we can do stuff together. It's so we can laugh together. It's so we can have fun together. I am not naive enough to expect every woman on earth to agree with me on every single thing. In fact, that's extremely unrealistic. That will cause a lot of heartache and a lot of conflict for you if you expect all of your friends to have the same political views, the same views on colorism, texturism, featurism. So, what I've done is I have chosen kind of my top priorities of what I care about the most in a friend. Like, what are the top 5 things where I want my friend to agree with me on these things? Those are the only things that matter. All the little stuff doesn't really matter to me. But that's because I'm very open minded. If you're not an open minded type of person, you're going to have a lot more issues with your friends. So you have to also ask yourself, what is my friendship type? Do I want friends who prioritize leveling up? Do I want friends who can hold a conversation about leveling up? That's something you can think about too. What kinds of conversations do you want to be able to have with your friends? And for those of you who are saying, I want to be able to talk about anything, well, I kind of don't think you should talk to your friends about anything. I think that there are some things that are reserved for a therapist because you don't want to be that trauma dumping friend. That's not fair to your friend. It's not fair that you expect her to sit there on FaceTime with you for 6 hours on a Saturday and go through all of the emotions of your breakup and stuff like that. That's actually not fair to them. So I think it's actually a bit immature to expect to automatically talk about anything, anytime with your friends because hopefully your friends are leveled up enough to where they're not available 24/7. So there comes a time where you kind of have to mature and realize that, hey, what I need is emotional support. Let me go talk to a therapist. Let me talk to maybe a family member or someone who knows my childhood traumas. And I'm not saying that your friends won't emotionally support you because they will. Like, I will talk to my friends for a few minutes about certain things. But my number one objective with my friendships is I want us to have fun life experiences together. And yes, we can talk about anything, but I don't want my friends to be giving me unsolicited advice. I don't like that. I don't like when people randomly give their opinions on what I should be doing with my life because nobody knows me better than I know myself. So they really can't tell me what to do. So the problem that I've had in the past with trauma dumping on my friends is when I've trauma dumped on them, then they start trying to tell me what to do. They start trying to give me advice. And I had to learn that I didn't want advice. I just wanted to feel heard. And so that's another strategy that I had to create for myself. How can I go about feeling heard? I can create a YouTube channel. I can get a therapist. I can find a place to vent online. That's what Reddit is for. You know what I mean? That's what like all of these other spaces are for. That's not what your girls' brunch is for. It's not for you to just take over the entire conversation and talk for 3 hours about how much you hate Tyrone. So, one thing that will help you decide your friendship type is by asking yourself, what kinds of conversations do I want to have with my friends? Do I want a friend that is more introverted and a friend that's a good listener? Because I noticed that that's a high priority for me. I want friends that are good listeners. I don't want a friend that's just going to talk my ear off and complain about her marriage for 2 hours. That gets on my last nerves. I have cut off so many different women. I've noticed that like majority of my friends are not married because whenever I end up hanging out with them, they end up just complaining about their husbands or kids. I've noticed the majority of my friends don't have kids too because they'll complain about their husbands, they'll complain about their kids. And it's like, I don't want to talk about kids. I want to talk about Love is Blind. I want to talk about my workout routine. I want to talk about this new book I'm reading. That's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about our plans for going to the pumpkin patch in a couple of weeks. I don't want to talk about your 2 year old and how stressful it is that you have them. That's another thing. I don't like being around friends who complain. Some people, they don't want friends, they just want people to listen to them complain. So, one of the questions you have to ask yourself is, why do I want friends? What do I want to talk to them about? And then ask yourself, okay, would I be friends with a girl like that? So, if all I'm looking for is someone to complain to about colorism, would I be friends with a girl who complains about colorism on Friday night when we're going out to Vegas or something? Do I want to talk about colorism when I'm going out to a buffet or going out to a concert? Is that what I want the topic of conversation to be? Okay, so maybe I need a different outlet to vent those things. Also, if you are multiracial or multicultural and you start talking about your multicultural experiences in dating, a lot of monocultural or monoracial women will start to get pissed off because they don't understand the difference between your experiences and theirs. Because a lot of people, somebody was talking about this in the Discord, they were talking about how a lot of people think that exoticals are rejected by non black men. And obviously, we all know that's not true. And so once you start talking about your dating experiences and how you have been successful and how guys of other backgrounds take you out and they pay for your stuff. You didn't have to go 50-50. He took you on a vacation. He took you to New Orleans. He took you to the amusement park. Once they start seeing the difference in your privileges, that's when shit starts getting fucked up. And so if I'm saying anything that sounds braggadocious, like I try to stay away from stuff that sounds like that, because I don't need my friends' validation. I don't need them to validate my desirability. I don't need my friends to validate that I'm pretty or that and I'm not saying it like I would be friends with women who are fake and mean to me, but I just mean like I wouldn't randomly bring up my dating experiences unless that's the topic of conversation or they ask about it. But if they don't directly ask about it, I'm not bringing it up. And I've had friends make these crazy comments before, and I didn't even notice. But, like, okay, so for example, one of my friends who's married, she has said comments like, oh, well, your boyfriend definitely puts you on a pedestal. And she just randomly has said this before. And she only said this because we went on a vacation. It was me and my boyfriend at the time, and then her and her husband at the time. And like after we got back, she just randomly started making comments like, oh, he definitely puts you on a pedestal because he was holding my purse, or, just doing these random things. So watch out for friends who are like examining men's interactions with you, or they're examining like how people treat you and stuff, because that is a sign that she may struggle with inferiority complex in that area. But one of the ways that I solved a lot of these problems is by purposely going after friends who have just as many privileges as me. And I'm not saying it like I'm counting their privileges, but I can kind of tell based on a woman's confidence level how privileged she has been throughout her life, or how much she is privileged stacking. I can just kind of tell by how she carries herself. So I will go out of my way to find other exoticals to be friends with. I'll go out of my way to find other pretty women to be friends with, other content creators to be friends with, other influencers and stuff to be friends with. Um, Other like smart professional women who are also put on a pedestal. I will go out of my way to find those types of women specifically to be friends with. And I know that a lot of you guys are saying pretty women can still be jealous, which I agree. And if they are, then I just cut them off and then I find a new friend. And I also try to make sure that me and my friends are kind of in similar places in life. So all of my friends, they're all around my age. They're all within about 5 to 10 years of my age. Well, they're really all within about 5 years of my age. Some of them are a little bit older, some of them are a little younger. Most of them don't have children, or if they do have children, maybe they only have one, or they don't have full custody of the child or something. I've also noticed a lot of my friends have more free time. So a lot of them are like entrepreneurs or they work remotely like me. So those are other things that I try to look at. I look at their lifestyle. If their lifestyle aligns with mine, they're more compatible as a friend. So that's another way that I kind of prevent having a lot of friendship problems. If the woman is in survival mode, none of my friends are in survival mode. All of my friends have kind of surpassed that stage of survival mode. Because you don't want to be friends with a woman like that anyway. I don't want to be friends with a woman who is being abused. She's in an on and off relationship and she's in survival mode. She's constantly having drama. She's constantly getting kicked out of her apartment and then she's kicking him out and he took the baby and now she's got to go to grandma's house to get the baby back. Those types of women don't make good friends because they're not emotionally available to have fun. I want to have fun with my friends. That's one of my number one priorities with my friendships is I want my friendships to be fun. I don't want my friendships to be draining. I just want to go get mimosas. Well, I will get a non-alcoholic mimosa. I want to go hang out by the pool and just put on our sunglasses and our sun hats and tan. That's what I want to do with my friends. I don't want to sit there and like we're both crying because you're telling me how bad your life is and now I feel sorry for you. So now I'm spending my Friday nights crying. So that's another way that I kind of solved the friendship problem. It was by really thinking about the lifestyle of the women I'm around and only getting to know a girl if it seems like her lifestyle aligns with mine. I've also noticed I don't get along very well with women who are very male centered. If she's like an extreme pick me, if she is extremely religious, that's another group I don't get along with. If she's extremely religious and tries to police my clothing and says that I'm not being modest enough, or she tries to police my body and stuff, she like the red pill types of women and stuff. I don't get along with those types of women in real life. I also don't know of any divestors in real life. I don't have any divester friends in real life. Another strategy that I use to make positive friendships is I like to do hobbies or hang out in spaces where I want to meet friends. I think I told you guys about like the different Latina meetups or like the professional meetups that I've gone to, different hobby groups. So you can look in your city and look up like yoga classes, knitting classes, paint and sip, cooking classes. There are going to be other women who are going to those events by themselves, and those women are going to be open to making friends too. So, what kinds of women do you like to hang out with the most? White women, black women, young women, old, tall, short, pretty, ugly, plus size, skinny? Those are all things I think about. The majority of my friends are skinny. Do I have any fat friends? I don't think I really have any fat friends at all, actually. Because I noticed big women don't usually get along with me for very long because usually they'll say something to piss me off. It's not because they're fat, it's because they start talking shit about my eating habits, and that pisses me off when people do stuff like that. I don't like when people give unsolicited commentary, negative commentary on my body. So that's why I don't usually get along with bigger women because they almost always have something to say about my body and my eating habits. And so I just end up getting pissed off and ghosting them. But the majority of my friends are skinny. So I guess you could say that I seem to prefer thin women as my friends because we just get along. They like healthy food. It's more so because they just like the same food as me. Something else that has helped me to make positive friendships, though, is overcoming my own pretty girl PTSD. Like, once I sat down and started journaling and writing down what kind of friend I wanted to manifest, because I do believe in the concept of manifesting, I do believe in that general concept. So, I will write down in my journal, this is the type of friend I want. I want to have a friend group of leveled up, beautiful exoticals. I want women who are pretty privileged, regardless of their racial background. I want to be around women who support my level up because friends actually give you pretty privilege as well. Like I have had friends buy me coffee because you guys know I'm obsessed with coffee. So I've had friends like bring me coffee in the morning when we're meeting up or something. Like I love having friends that are really sweet and kind. I've had friends buy me dinner before, like maybe they'll buy me dinner for my birthday or something, or just because I'm not feeling well, or like when I've gone through a breakup in the past, I've had friends FaceTime me and call me. So I manifested that for myself. You are the master of your own life. You are the one who's in charge of manifesting what you want because everywhere you go, there you are. You are the common denominator in your own life. So I know what it's like to have pretty girl PTSD. I know what it's like to have betrayal trauma. Trust me, I've been through a lot of it myself, but I don't allow other people's betrayal to stop me from future happiness in terms of friendships because God knows I'm not about to center my life around men. So I have no choice but to overcome any female friendship traumas because this is going to be my life. I'm going to be socializing mainly with women for the rest of my life. I'm not about to center my life around men or socially isolate myself so much to the point where I have no human interaction. Did you know that you actually will go mentally insane if you have no human interaction at all? That is called solitary confinement. So if all I do is sit in my apartment and I never speak to anybody, I never hang out with anybody, and I don't go anywhere, what's the difference between that versus prison? Seriously. If all I do is sit in my bedroom and I only come out whenever I'm summoned, or I only come out whenever I have a visitor once a year or once every 2 years, what's the difference between that versus prison? I'm not going to spend the rest of my life just revolving it around work. All I do is go to the office and then I come home and then that's it. I'm not doing that. And so I've had to learn how to take accountability for my part in the friendships as well. Like for my negative qualities, like I have definitely been the trauma dumping friend before. I have been the male centered friend before who always had the relationship drama with an abusive guy or whatever. I have been the complaining friend before. I've been the unsolicited advice friend before. So I had to look at my own flaws and then work on those qualities and become the type of friend that I wanted to have. Whatever type of friend you want to have, become that type of person. And then it's going to be more likely that you attract that. That was how I attracted multiple friend groups. So now I have two solid friend groups. I have one exotical friend group where everybody in the whole friend group is an exotical. I didn't even know that was possible. It was my dream to have an entire friend group. So now I have two. I'm working on getting a Latina friend group next. I haven't decided yet how I'm going to do that or if I want to do that or what that's going to be like. I'll let you guys know. But yeah, so I have one exotical friend group. I have a friend group where it's all different races and everybody has pretty privilege. And then the last friend group that I had to cut off three women. So there were three women who didn't like me in the first friend group. So the first time I tried it, I failed because there were three women in that group who did not like me. I noticed all of them happened to be fat and all of them happened to be from the hood. And so that's another way that you can also eliminate drama. What types of women don't usually like you? Don't hang out with those types of women. Stop giving them a chance. Divest from those women. You know how they talk about divest from black men? I have divested from women who don't have pretty privilege. I'm just being 100% honest because I've noticed that women who feel inferior about their beauty, they do not like me. They never last in my life for a long time. Something always happens to where they get pissed off or like they see me getting a free drink or something, then they get pissed. So I've learned, okay, these types of women do not like me. So let me not even try to become friends with these types of women. So think about that. What types of women dislike you? White women, black women, fat women, women with kids, married women, women from the hood, teachers, librarians, I don't know. Whatever types of women do not like you, do not go out of your way to make friends with them. Don't make friends with them. Make friends with the opposite of whoever those women are. I've noticed that I can't hang out with uneducated women. Uneducated women don't like me. They don't like me. Uneducated women don't like me. Monocultural women don't seem to like me. Especially if they have a combination of being monocultural, being male centered, and they're overweight. Oh, absolutely not. I'm not even going to waste my time. I'm not going to waste my time because they're going to think I'm stuck up. They're going to think that I think I'm better than them. So I don't even try to make friends with those types of women. They would have to come to me if they wanted to be my friend. So that's a part of how I make friends. It's the same way that you would do dating, how you avoid some types of people, and then with other types of people, you're open to them. That's how I avoid friendship drama. I already know the archetype of a woman that would not like me. So I avoid that type of woman at all costs. I don't keep going back and giving them chance after chance after chance. Absolutely not. I'm not wasting my time and emotional energy being rejected over and over to the point where now I've got an entire inferiority complex about friendships. Absolutely not. I don't need that drama in my life. So if I've noticed that 9 out of 10 obese women doesn't like me, I'm no longer hanging out with obese women. If I notice that 9 out of 10 uneducated women doesn't like me, well, now I know. Okay, don't try to make friends with women who are uneducated. If I know that I tend to not get along with women who have kids, one of my friends actually, she once she ended up getting pregnant, well, there are a few friends of mine who once they had kids, I naturally let the friendship fall off. I'm just being honest. And I didn't do it to be a bitch, but I did it because I know that I am child free. I know that I like to pick up and go on vacations randomly. I know that I like to randomly stay up super late. I like to stay out super late. I like to get up early in the morning on Saturdays and go hiking and go on walks and go get coffee and stuff. So if you're a mother of a newborn, I'm not going to ask you to wake up with me at 6 a.m. so we can go try a new coffee shop. That's inconsiderate. And especially if she's a single mother, she won't be able to. So I'm not even going to ask. So I've had friends where if they reach a certain transition point in life, I just let them gradually fall off. And it's no hard feelings. Sometimes women are only meant to be in your life for a season, and that's okay. I accept that. I don't expect every friend that I meet to automatically be my best friend for life. That's extremely immature. That's extremely unrealistic. That's very controlling. That's very selfish. So I understand that some friends, they're going to come and go. So I just enjoy the friendships that I have. I have had so many people come and go throughout my life. I've had people pass away. I've had people move away. People have been married, they've been divorced, they've been remarried again, they've had affairs, they've been cheated on, they've been abused or they've abused others. I've had so many people go through transitions in my life to the point where, look, I'm just happy if I'm having some fun, enjoying my life, and I have positive women in my presence. That's what I'm looking for. All I'm looking for is positivity. I'm looking for loyalty. And another way that I avoid betrayal trauma now is I don't hang out in spaces where it's like they even have an opportunity to betray me. So think about the betrayal traumas you've had in the past. The biggest betrayal traumas I've had have been like at work, at school, at church. So those are all social settings where everybody knows each other. I don't even hang out in social settings like that anymore for the most part. So I have different friends where each group of friends, they don't even know each other. So there's nobody that you can even go and gossip to about me because my other friend group doesn't even know you. You can't even embarrass me in front of anybody anyway. So I've avoided that type of trauma by not hanging out in spaces where gossip thrives. I don't hang out in black churches because that's where I used to have the most drama. Always a black church. It was black churches. It was college. It was the workplace. I don't make friends at work. Well, I mean, I work for myself now, but when I used to work in the office, I never made friends in the office because I know that that's where a lot of my betrayal trauma comes from. I notice that my work friendships only tend to last as long as I work at that place. And then as soon as I stop working at that place, the friendship falls off. So I no longer even make friends in the workplace. I go and make friends at hobby groups. That's the main source of my friendships. I will go to like a yoga class, I'll go to hot Pilates, I will go to book clubs or different meetups and stuff, and that's how I make my friends. And I tend to make friends in feminine spaces, not in a co ed space. Co ed spaces have a lot of drama for me. I've noticed every single time I go into a new co ed space, it's going to cause drama because there's going to be some girl, she likes some guy, then the guy is looking at me or something, and now she's pissed and there's drama. No. So I'm not even going to go to a co ed space to make friends. If I'm going to a co ed space, it's so I can do some decentered dating. That's why I'm going to a co ed space. And if I make friends who are not jealous, great. But generally speaking, I'm not going to a co ed fitness group or something like that because I only want to make girlfriends. No, if I do make girlfriends, that's great, but I also expect some drama to happen as well. Because whoever the hot guy is, there's going to be jealousy. You know, there are probably going to be some pick me's there. I try not to make friends in spaces with a lot of pick me women, just in general. So that's why I said churches, that's not a good place for me because there are a lot of pick me's in churches. Work, that's definitely not a good place because there are a lot of basic Bettys and pick me's and male centered women in the workplace. So, another question you can ask yourself is, where would I like to make friends? Is there a community garden I can join? Is there an all women's support group that I can join? Basically, I don't want to be in a space where there's a potential of people comparing me to other women. That's going to be a toxic space to make friends, I've noticed. So that's why I said no colleges, no workplaces, no churches. Definitely not some sort of dating event or something like that. I mean, I've never heard of people making female friends at dating events, but yeah, any sort of social clubs where it's like a singles group or something. No, that's not where women are coming to make friends. Usually women are going to singles groups so that they can meet a guy. So even if you are in some sort of singles group and there are women and men, she might be cool for now, but once she gets a boyfriend, she's probably going to ghost you. Anyway, what do you ladies think? Let me know in the comment section and I'll talk to you next time. Stay pretty, ladies.